My best friend ruined my cousin's life, and now I hate her for it. My ex-best friend of almost 20 years, we will call her Lynn, married my favorite cousin. We'll call him Josh. I was ecstatic for them as my cousin seemed genuinely happy with her, which was a big deal because he had not had a great upbringing, and he is very shy and cautious around who he opens up to. He is also autistic and has moments where he is nonverbal. Lynn's parents were alcoholics and emotionally neglectful. However, I knew Lynn and her history with past relationships. Once the chase was over and the thrill of the new relationship was over, she either cheated or manipulated them so they would dump her. She attributes it to her ADSE autism. They asked me to marry them as I am ordained, and at first I was happy because I thought Lynn had finally matured a bit, and Josh was happy. Now I regret ever doing it. When Lynn and Josh moved in together, the agreement was he would work and she would take care of the house. They both settled on that because Lynn also has a terrible history of getting a job just to quit because they didn't give her accommodations or listen to her about how to make things more efficient. She also lost her license and couldn't handle taking the test to get them back, so she made Josh do it for her, also she could lose them again. This actually plays a big part in our story. So a few years go by, he works, and she attempts to clean, but only when it became an issue. So in short, she hardly held up her end of the agreement, and it got to a point that Josh was getting so depressed at home that he wanted to die. So they hire me to come clean, which I do because I love my cousin, and at the time I didn't know he was unhappy with his marriage. Cue my wife and I coming to clean and hang out more, which led us to start inviting Josh out more, which meant he opened up to us a lot. Especially since Lynn, who was usually invited but made excuses to not go, wasn't around. He expressed his displeasure with Lynn and how she'd made him feel, how she only ever thought of herself, and how it felt like he married his mother. Since all Lynn did while he was at work was play Minecraft and watch TV all day but had no problem spending every last cent he made. It got to a point where he even thought of divorce because he never got to spend any of the money he made on himself. Christmas time rolls around and Josh, after spending time with people who actually cared, started talking about his dream to travel. My wife and I are currently working towards that goal, and Josh wanted to as well. We all sat down and agreed that this was what all four of us wanted to do, so we started making plans and saving back. Josh and Lynn had decided on living out of Josh's UV as they didn't want a camper and van life was more appealing to them. They got all the gear and everything they'd need for life on the road. Now, remember when I said she'd lost her license? The deciding factor in all of this was when Lynn decided to pull out in front of a truck, which hit her so hard it sent her into another vehicle, completely demolishing the SUV, and of course up until recently, she claimed it wasn't her fault. Shortly after she admitted that she was playing along with our plan in hopes Josh would lose interest, she decided her license was not worth getting since they would not be going anywhere now. I got mad and tore into her, telling her everything Josh had told us in confidence. Should I have? No. I know it wasn't my place, and I know Josh is a big boy who should be able to open his mouth, but he doesn't. Around this time, Lynn had also started doing intimate stuff with a person she'd met online. Now, mind you, Lynn and Josh have an open relationship, but she didn't tell Josh about doing anything with this man until after it had been done. The messed up fact was that despite begging her for intimacy and getting shot down because of her ad or a multitude of excuses, she couldn't get into the mood until she and her online fling first did something. So essentially, she got her motor going with one guy and would have Josh finish the job. For anyone wondering, yes, that's what cheating is in an open relationship. After all of this happened, Josh broke, he stopped wanting to hang out, and he stopped communicating outside of his phone and just went right back into his shell. Now, a year after everything, he has finally decided to go back to work. He is a shattered husk of the man I used to know, and I had to cut all contact for a while because I want to kill her for all the pain she has caused this poor man, but I also know that there is nothing I can do. Meanwhile, she spends his money on going to school for a degree she will never use, and on shit for her hobbies, which is a lot considering her ad has her hopping from one hyperfixation to the next. I hate her and wish she'd have died in that wreck just so my cousin would be free.